Welcome back everyone to Mona's Take. I am your host Mona Rose and we're here to talk about everything reality TV. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything I have coming up. And don't forget to like, comment, and share. Alright, live feeds 24 hours. It's been slow going. The house guests were up very late until this morning. The HOH did not receive the basket or the HOH room until about, I think it was 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning Central Time. So it was very late. People are acting on a whole nother level on that. So I can't wait to see that karma train coming through. Choo-choo. Mood of the day. Really. You gotta give us more credit than that. Some people, buckle up, buttercup. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. When the feeds did come back on last night before their next HOH competition, Taylor was telling Brittany that the way that Michael left was so mean. Brittany said, "I don't even know what to do now." Taylor said, "We win." She said that she refuses to let Monty and Turner railroad us 3. No one is telling Brittany what exactly Michael knows or what they all know about what Turner said. And I have noticed one thing, listening to Monty and Turner retell a story that has anything to do with Brittany. They're not taking her words that she says, but more so they're taking, they're trying to read between the lines, so to speak, and putting their own view as to what she's saying out there. So I will say that the conversation that she had between her and Turner that started all of this wasn't as cut and dry as Turner would like to make it sound. Brittany said, "I have a feeling I'm next," and Taylor said, "I'm not going to let that happen." Taylor's talking to the camera. She goes into the bathroom to get some more Michael's stuff. Everybody's in the room packing up Michael's suitcases. And she goes into the bathroom and she's talking to herself, but to the cameras, and said, "Turner's got 3 HOHs. Michael's got 3 HOHs. Turner's got to go. Turner's going up. He's winning consistently." So Taylor sees it at the moment that he is the next biggest threat. So now Alyssa and Monty have made a reference to the only reason that Michael lost the veto was because of his rope breaking. We saw that in the competition, and what they're saying is, what Monty's saying is those few seconds that Michael was like, "What do I do? What do I do?" and kind of got confused when his rope broke, was enough time to let Monty slide in and win that competition. I've had a lot of people asking me about it in the comments. Big Brother will never overturn a veto, or they haven't in the history of Big Brother. It was a live show, so what's done is done. They're not going to have any kind of investigation or overturn it and bring Michael back. None of that. It is what it is. It happens in the competitions, and they know that. Just like the competition in the backyard when Terrence won veto, he had an unfair advantage because of where he was located and the way the wind was coming in the backyard. So it happens. There's nothing that they can do about that. Monty and Turner are patting themselves on the back for a job well done, and it was a job well done. If any of them wanted a chance to win that game, they had to get Michael out. It was a good game move. I still don't like it. I still feel horrible for Michael to know that Michael's sitting in the jury house when Brittany and Alyssa are still in the house. It's hard. And I know that's the name of the game, but I would honestly like to see the good players at the end and let them fight it out. instead of bringing somebody to the end that they can just railroad. Turner said, I can't believe I cussed on TV. And Monty said, when? And Turner said, when Michael said that to me, I was so pissed, and I said, that's effed up. And I did go back and listen to it because we discussed it on the live. I did not originally hear exactly what was said. I thought that Michael was talking about the gentleman's agreement with them and that they wouldn't go after him. But what Michael actually said was, you said that you would not put up a member of the LGBTQ community. And so I guess at one point he told Michael that. And so that's one thing that Michael threw out there. Michael was throwing anything up against the wall to see what would stick, because he was trying everything in his power to stay in the house. Taylor comes in and asks the guys about the pound and how long it lasted. And of course they lied to her and said they didn't talk about it past that night, that that's what originally started the leftovers and that they were all in leftovers. And I think that Taylor still doesn't see how close Monty and Turner are. She still doesn't see that they're working together. She thinks Monty is her strongest ally in the game right now. And I'm afraid that that's going to bite her in the ass. They talk about how Michael was the best player of the history of Big Brother. And then the feed's cut and they go off to their HOH competition. The competition was the dark room. If you guys remember, they crawl through a tunnel, everything's dark, they have to find stuff and bring it back to one location. This sounded like they were trying to find 6 different planks in 6 different doorways. They all talked about how scary it was and how hard it was to navigate in there. So, our new HOH is Monty. Taylor took herself out of the comp. She tapped out and quit and wouldn't finish it. From listening to them and listening to her, she got stuck in the tunnel, the initial tunnel that they have to crawl through. And she said she had a panic attack and she froze. And she knew that there was no way that she was going to be able to complete the comp. So she backed out and quit. And then they start talking about the comp. Monty only won by 9 seconds. 9 seconds is what separated him and Brittany. Brittany was in second place in that comp. So I think with Michael gone, it does level the playing field when it comes to Monty, Taylor, Alyssa, and Brittany. But I think Turner's going to be the new Michael. I think Turner's going to be able to beat every one of them in competitions. And Taylor said that she was in the crawl space for about 10 minutes trembling, and she knew she couldn't do it, so she tapped out. She said she knew if she spent 10 minutes in there, there was no way she was going to be able to make up that time. Brittany is still crying, saying that she doesn't understand why Michael threw her under the bus that way. And Brittany tells Taylor, I told him so many times and he wouldn't listen to me. She said, I knew it had to happen. She said, I just don't know how to feel about everything, and I don't know how he feels about me right now. She says, I know he's going to regret it. And in one of his interviews that I heard today, he did say that he regretted saying all that because he knows that he hurt Brittany on a personal level. And that was not his intention, but that he was trying to do everything he could to stay in the game. And Taylor tells her at this point, he'll have 2 weeks to sit on it. It'll be fine. Like, did she just tell Brittany you got 2 weeks left in the house? There's 3 weeks left of the competition. So I took that as she thinks that she's going to go to the end with Turner and Monty. Which is surprising because she said she knew Turner had to get out. I don't know. It was a weird statement. She didn't say 3 weeks. She said he'll have 2 weeks to set on it. Sorry, I have my grandkids today, so if you hear them in the background, I apologize in advance. I'm on granny mode. Brittany says, I get it. I've been vocal to a lot of people that he needed to go home, and she's sure it got back to him, but everybody wanted him out, not just her. She said, I can't believe he said all that stuff about the final two, but you know you are the only true one that I have. And about that time, she got called to the DR. Monty got his H room about 3:30 in the morning, California time. He got his letter from his dad. And I have to tell you, that letter was the best letter that I've heard all season. He just really doted on Monty, telling Monty what a good man he was. And that he was super proud of him no matter what. And that he's always been an exceptional human being. And it was just a good letter. Monty broke down and started crying. And of course I cried right along with him. Third time this season they've made me cry. I thought it was 2. But one of the viewers pointed out that it was. Yesterday was the 2nd time. Today was the 3rd time. Monty and Alyssa talk, and he tells her that it's obvious that Turner and I have a good relationship since the pound and the leftovers, and I don't want to put him up, and I don't want to put Taylor up. So basically that leaves you and Brittany. He said, I don't have a lot of options, so you'll be the pawn. She says that she understands and doesn't want to go home. She said that she wants to prove to him that she's all in with them. He tells her that if anyone says anything about him going home next week, since he's HOH, he would like her to come and tell him. And that he will base his decision on that. He wants her to be that person for him. He said, that will help me a lot. If you can be that person for me. She said, I do want to do that for you. I want to build trust with you. And she says she will absolutely be that person for him. She says, with Brittany on the block, she's going to probably make up stuff about me. So I'd appreciate it, you talking to me about it. If she comes to you with anything, so that I can just clarify. He says, I just want to know things if there's an opportunity to know stuff. He said, I just want you to know whatever Brittany tells me, I take with a grain of salt. And I'll bring it back to you or anyone else so I can get a good read on the situation, whether it's true or not. Brittany definitely shot herself in the foot. She would not be on the outs right now had she not had that conversation with Turner. I think everything else she could have gotten past, but that conversation with Turner, I think, is what buried her. Monty and Brittany talk. She feels like she'll be the next to go. She said she knew it had to be done, but it was just the way it went down. Monty said, I do want to talk to you about what Michael was talking about during his speech. Are you open to discuss it and put all your cards on the table? Well, Monty's really using this HOH for information, to gather as much information as he can from everybody. She said, Alyssa came in from Direfrest wanting to make some connections and wanted a final 3 with me and Michael. And at the same time, wanted a final 3 with me and Taylor. She said her loyalty has always been with him, Michael, Taylor, and that was the final 4. That any of the other conversations that she had was just fluff. She didn't bring them to him because she didn't really take them seriously. but that her loyalty has always been to the Final Four at Brocello. She said that, you know, if somebody brings you an alliance, you don't tell them no. You always say yes, that that's just the Big Brother way, but that she didn't consider them real alliances. She said, last week I had a conversation with Turner. She said, I hadn't talked to him to let him know how I felt about Michael going home if the time came. She tells him that she thought he was closer to Turner. That's why she didn't say anything to Monty. She thought that they were working together, which they are. She tells him that Alyssa has thrown his name out as being the target. So if she goes this week, everyone will keep him safe next week. So she's saying, Alyssa's the only one that I've heard saying your name. So if we send Alyssa home and you can't play HOH next week, you have me, Taylor, and Turner. And none of us would put you on the block, so you'd be safe. Brittany says that Taylor did have a final three with Michael and her. So she's basically just laying all her cards on the table. She's laying out her whole game. But in the process, she's also laying out everybody else's game. He tells her the same thing he told Brittany, you know, I need eyes and ears. If you hear anything, bring it back to me. I'm not making any decisions. I'm going to let things just fall where they may. But if you hear anything that may change my mind, let me know. Monty and Turner talk. Turner tells Monty that Brittany's already told him and Taylor separately that they were all Brittany had. So Brittany went to Taylor and said, you're all I have left in this game. But she also went to Turner and said, you're all I have left in this game. I believe she did tell Taylor that. I would have to see the tape to see if she actually told Turner that. Because Brittany doesn't trust Turner and hasn't trusted Turner for weeks. Monty fills Turner in on the Brittany convo. He said he's going to let things ride out, see what happens this week. He said he wants to see how people act throughout the week. Turner said, so we can get to the final two so easy now. We don't have any competition. So Turner is just convinced now that it's a done deal. And then him and Monty sit in those final two chairs. They think they can steamroll the girls, which they probably can. Monty said, if you win veto, it will force me to put up Taylor. And if we find out that Taylor is saying his name, that's the only way that he would be okay with her going home. Monty and Taylor talk. Monty fills Taylor in on all the conversations he's already had. Taylor asked if Brittany is his target. He said, if Alyssa gets to 2, she's the bigger threat. He tells her that he's not locking himself into anything this week, that he needs eyes and ears, and he's just going to let the week play out. Taylor said, I didn't know if you were holding on to that for Turner. And Monty said, Turner and Alyssa have a tight relationship. Taylor says, Brittany and I were not the ones to start the girls' alliance. She said, I'm just really trying to gauge how close you are to Turner. Is that your final 2? And Monty said, logistically, Turner has won more comps than me. He is a shield. My worry is that if Turner is not here, I'm more vulnerable. Monty says, I just want to see if Brittany is telling him the truth, so we will have the convo to compare notes. So he didn't answer Taylor's question, which was, do you and Turner have a final 2? He went around it. Monty tells Taylor, if you win the veto and you pull Brittany down, then I am forced to put up Turner. And in that case, you and Brittany are the ones to do the vote, and I have no control over how y'all vote. So he's basically telling Taylor the same thing he told Turner. Except he told Turner, if you win and take down Alyssa, then it's you and Alyssa voting and y'all decide who goes home. But he did say that he wouldn't be comfortable with Taylor going home unless he found out that she was gunning for him. So he tells Taylor, if you win the veto and you force me to put up Turner, then there's nothing I can do. There's no blood on my hands. Which is a good strategy. Taylor tells him that all of her eggs are in his basket, that she's all in with him, and she said, just don't make me look stupid. Taylor said she would like Alyssa to go and not Brittany. She also said she would prefer Turner goes because he's the highest threat level. I'm wondering if he's going to go back to Turner with this information. If he's going to tell Turner that Taylor has said that she wants him out. My hope for this week is that Brittany keeps her mouth shut and just lays back and stays under the radar. Because at this point, Monty's going to twist anything she tells him. Turner is going to twist anything she tells him. Alyssa is going to twist anything she says to her. So Brittany's only hope for staying this week is laying low, keeping her mouth shut, and winning the veto. Because honestly, Monty's not going to believe anything she says anyway. He's proven that. He's already determined that she's a liar, and he's going to believe everything Turner says. So anything Brittany says to him is a moot point this week. My second hope for the week would be that Brittany or Taylor win the veto, because then that forces him to put Turner up. And honestly, I would kind of hope Brittany wins it, because then it forces him to make a decision between Taylor and Turner. And that decision will show everyone in the house where he truly lies. Nominations. Monty puts up Brittany and Alyssa, which is what I figured would happen. Brittany talks to Monty, and he digs deeper into Brittany Turner's conversation. She still says that any conversations that she had was her trying to fill people out to see where they stood so that she could help Michael with his HOH. But Michael wouldn't listen to her when she told him that Turner would be coming for him. Monty tells her that the communication between himself and her has been lacking, and that's what he keeps thinking about. Brittany said she's pretty much not getting any game talk from anyone. She said, I get the feeling that nobody's wanting to talk game with me. And she's telling Monty that the reason she didn't come to him with all the other stuff is because it wasn't real to her. It was just fluff, and she didn't think that she needed to bring it to Monty's attention. Monty and Alyssa talk. Monty asked her about the All-Girls Alliance, and that he heard she initiated it. Of course, she lied to him and said, oh no, it was Brittany. It was all Brittany that did all that. He asked her how Taylor acted about it, and she said she really didn't say anything. She just kind of stayed quiet, didn't really give a whole lot of opinions. And he said he just feels like his safety going forward is his main concern for the week. And as I suspected, he didn't believe anything that Brittany said because he brings it up to Alyssa. She says, honestly, there's no one... Oh, this is the statement. This is the statement of the day. She tells Monty. She says, honestly, there is no one that I feel like I have to get rid of that's still in the game to win the game. You're telling me Monty didn't catch that? You're telling me that she just said that there's nobody in that game she feels threatened by? That she could win against anyone? That's what I took from it. Monty never said a word about it to anyone. I'm like, dude, you need to open up those blinders that you have on. That would have been my number one main concern. If someone told me I can win against anybody in this house, or I don't need to get rid of anyone because no one's a threat to me, please. I'm really hoping that Monty's catching all of it and realizing that the lies that Alyssa's telling, but it doesn't seem so. It seems like he's super focused on not believing anything Brittany says, to the point that he's not dissecting Alyssa's conversation with the same energy, which tells me that he's already got his mind made up that he wants Brittany gone. Alyssa tells Taylor that Brittany's trying to throw them both under the bus when it comes to the Girls Alliance, and that she told Monty that it was all Brittany. It's all Brittany. Don't, make sure you got my back, because I've got your back, and we're just going to blame all this on Brittany. It was Alyssa. Alyssa's the one that came up with this. Alyssa's the one that pushed for this. And Michael knew about it because Michael asked Alyssa in his one-on-one if she had talked to Brittany and Taylor any more about the Girls Alliance. So Michael knew about it. And I think Michael was playing into it, thinking that he could take the three girls to the end. And of course, later on when Taylor talks to Monty, she says, yeah, she just said something to me in the downstairs about Brittany trying to throw us under the bus about the Girls Alliance, but I don't remember anything else that was said. She remembered it. Taylor remembers conversations, and she listens openly. So she just didn't want to tell Monty what Alyssa had said. Monty tells Taylor about his conversation with Brittany and says she had told Michael everything, and we know that she didn't because we know that Turner was the first one that went to Michael. Taylor says Brittany did not start the conversation about the Girls Alliance. I didn't start the conversation about the Girls Alliance. That was all Alyssa. And she's the one that was pushing for it. I'm thinking, okay, Monty's going to listen to Taylor, and he's going to start scrutinizing Alyssa's conversations that he's had with her. But he didn't. He's going to end up bringing Alyssa to the Final Four. It's going to end up being, unless Brittany can win the veto this week, she's going home, and it's going to be Michael and Taylor against Turner and Alyssa for the Final Four. Monty again brings up the veto conversation with Taylor and says, if you win the veto, what you do is kind of out of my hands. Won't get any blood on my hands. And he said, and honestly, I don't want to win the veto competition. He said, it doesn't do me any good to win the veto. It just puts more targets on my back. So I honestly am not looking to win it. Which tells me he's going to throw this competition. And whichever way the cards fall, whether it be that Turner wins or Taylor or Brittany, he can throw his hands up and say, look, I put Brittany and Alyssa on the block, and I had no control after the veto was won. He tells Taylor that he still feels like Brittany's the bigger threat because she keeps lying to him. And Taylor's actually buying the fact now that Brittany's throwing her under the bus, because now she's had Monty, which she feels is her closest ally, telling her this. She's had Alyssa telling her this. So now she's buying it hook, line, and sinker. It kills me that people can't think for themselves. And I don't think I've ever seen a season where they've had so many cast members that were so easily manipulated into doing something. Like they don't think for themselves. And this season has so many like that. Turner's like that. Taylor's like that. Brittany's like that. Alyssa's like that. The list can go on and on for the ones that have already been voted out. It just amazes me. And Taylor and Monty really think that there's a world where the jury is not bitter and won't give the votes to Alyssa over them. They don't think that they can be that petty to vote based on friendship instead of gameplay. Have you watched any of Big Brother? It happens all the time. They need to wake up. And evidently, Michael told Alyssa some stuff when they had their quick one-on-ones for the double. He told her that Brittany was lying about her occupation. Evidently, Michael told Alyssa during his quick one-on-ones for the double that Brittany was lying about her occupation and lying about some other stuff. And so now Alyssa has told everybody else, and nobody else said that he told them that in his one-on-ones, which it was just Alyssa and Taylor, I guess. Because Turner couldn't vote, so Monty, yeah. But nobody else said that Michael told them that. I don't know why he would have picked Alyssa to tell that to. And of course, we didn't get to see any of it. We may this week, I guess Sunday. But I'm curious as to why he would tell that part of it. And I know he was trying to save his ass. So now they're all trying to figure out what it is that Brittany actually does for a living. And they're also trying to figure out how Brittany knows Turner. If you guys remember a few weeks back, she had asked Turner about him doing some kind of promotion thing, having a newspaper article where he had all blonde hair and he was talking about the Rug Shack and all this. And he said, yeah, how do you know that? And she said, I can't tell you how I know that. She said, but I can say I recognized you when I walked in the house. So nobody in the house knows how Brittany has actually seen this article or would know of Turner in that way. Turner doesn't know her, so therefore they're trying to figure that out as well. And of course, Brittany walks in and all the conversation stops. I watched a couple of Michael's interviews today. He still thinks that Monty and Taylor are playing the best game in the house. I tend to agree. He does regret what he said about Brittany. My hopes for this week is that we see a Brittany or Taylor veto and they take Turner out. Deep down, I think that's what Monty's hoping for too, but Monty doesn't want to have to be the one to do it. Because if you look at the 5 that are left, Turner is clearly the next biggest target to Monty. So I think that Monty's trying to fix it to where he could take out Turner or Taylor and not have any blood on his hands. So we'll see what happens after the veto meeting tomorrow, or veto competition tomorrow. So that's about all I have for you guys. It's been a long day today. I will be back tomorrow after the veto competition to let you guys know who wins that. And we'll go from there. That's about all I have for you guys. Until next time, have a great night. And as always, much love.